all y'all out there in social media world. It is Friday, which means it is time for the women entrepreneurs living child-free. And I'm super excited to be joined from across a continent, almost, with Robyn. Robyn, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. Well, I don't know, for everyone else, it may not.
It's good morning here, still on the East Coast, though barely, as we're here every Friday at 11:11 a.m. So, Robyn, what brings you here today?
Yeah, I loved your invite and doing something different focus. My business is a life of choice. That's my main umbrella. And really, when we make choices, there's things that are really great, things that might challenge us. And I just like that perspective when we can kind of hold those different things. It's like, what can come out of that?
Nice. And we're going to talk quite a bit today with Robyn about her business, a life of choice. Though I think it's great for us to start off with this idea of choice, because one of the things that's bringing us together, oops, sorry, that's not there yet, is the fact that we are child-free women entrepreneurs, and we're choosing to celebrate the fact that we don't have kids. And I'm a big believer, though. You want to choose to have kids? Brilliant. Support you. Choose not to have kids? Brilliant. We support you. You choose not to decide yet because you don't have to? Great. You're amazing for you. Robyn, you want to tell us a little bit about, the joy that you're able to create within your life because you're living this lifestyle, you're choosing to celebrate the life that you have?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things for me was that sense of being able to have the freedom to travel. Like when I was working in a corporation and got that travel bug a bit later in life because my circumstances were that I didn't have someone to sign for a passport. Then you had to have someone who knew you for a certain length of time. And then when I got that bug, it was like, oh, great, I want to see all these places and do all these things. And it really opened me up because when I traveled, there was this sense of I can be anyone. And it really helped me to grow and see different cultures, and growing up in very small places with a lot of very rigid kind of thinking. And it was interesting in certain countries, like in South America, like I was such an anomaly. You're a woman traveling alone and you don't have kids and you're not married. Like they were just shocked, right?
Like you're the unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think sometimes that's probably even still true today, but we haven't come that far.
There's a lot of traditions around that.
Yeah. So we are super excited to have you here today to chat with us about this. And I know I interrupted with the unicorn, so continue on with what you were sharing. I was just like, yes, what an anomaly, and it's still the same.
Yeah, and then 25 years ago this year, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was another big shift in my life where it's like I really had to look at where was I? How did I get there? What did I want? Something wasn't working in my life. So really digging deeper within me to fulfill what I needed in a different way. And for some people, that might be marriage or kids. For me, it was reconnecting with that spiritual side and bringing that in. So I was listening more to that intuitive voice that was there already, but had kind of shut down because of past experiences. And then that helped me to be more independent and then leave work early, took an early retirement so that I could start to do things that I really loved, which, brought together the things that I learned in the past, like the psychology and counseling, but then learn new things. And it was just such a real joy to meet with other entrepreneurs who had that kind of different way of looking at life, that kind of spirit mentality of don't fence me in. I want my freedom. And that's a lot for a lot of people around not having children, is that sense of freedom. And I know for myself, originally, that decision was from a place of fear because of my own upbringing. And I didn't want to be a welfare mom like my mom. And, we lived with other families, and it was really, really difficult. And so when I'd finally kind of found myself more and had more of a sense of who I was, I had such a rough childhood. I want to really enjoy the latter half of my life. I don't want to feel that responsibility in a way that might bring that trauma back up, but also that sense of how can I best serve other people? And I felt that service could be done in other ways. And one of the courses I teach through the meditation is for children. So helping them have a sense of themselves at a young age. So it's not that we, and me included, don't like kids, but it's how we work with them, how we interact with them.
Yeah, it is such an interesting thing. And in the group, so y'all, we do have a group, and I'm going to throw the link up here for our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/women entrepreneurs living child free. We do actually have several different people that work with kids. Dominique, who was our guest 2 weeks ago, I believe, y'all, she owns a tutoring company that she runs. We have Amy, she's a teacher doing English as a second language all across the globe. And so it's amazing that, because sometimes it's like, oh, you don't have kids, you must hate kids. And there are plenty of child-free people out there that don't like the kids. But the more and more that I'm talking to that are attracted to this group are the ones that are like, yes, we want to leave a legacy. We want to make an impact, but we don't have to do that just as our kids. And I think two of the examples that I had never even thought about, though, are up there, and their widespreadness, which isn't a word, but Dolly Parton and Oprah are both very child-free women. I read a quote from Dolly, and she was saying, I could have never done this had I been a mom, to the magnitude and the millions of books that she gives away. Like, that is a huge impact. And so you don't always have to be a parent to be able to impact the world. And you are impacting people all over the place. So let me tell you a little bit about Robyn, y'all. She is an engagement catalyst, the creator of A Life of Choice coaching and positive team engagement consulting, speaker, and author. So tell us about the book.
So I'm currently I'm in 6 books, and another one I'll be in this coming year. I'll be doing a Blue Talk in October. So, and then there'll be a book after that. But everything to conflict resolution within a family, to telling my story from sofa to soaring, dealing with the breast cancer and how that shifted my life, and one on confidence, secrets. So there's a lot of different ways that we can kind of bring ourselves and our uniqueness and what's important to us forward. Because I think that's one of the things that gets lost in coaching, especially, is these kind of cookie cutter approaches, and we're unique. And so that's what I really strive for, to help people to see that. And some of the tools I use help us to do that. Because, for example, this week, if I feel like someone has a course out there, some big name, and it's like connect with other coaches on Facebook, and I've been inundated, like 20 requests a day to connect with people.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And then the ones that will immediately request you join their Facebook group. So I unfriend those, because that's not relationship building. Because we need the relationship with ourselves, but we also need relationship with other people. Everything is relationship, right? Right from the time we're born to the time that we die. And so I just like to bring a lot of breadth and depth to who we are and what we do and how we connect.
Love it. Yes, it is so much about the relationships that we create. I was laughing the other day as I'm looking at my LinkedIn inbox, and I'm like, in what world is like, hi, nice to connect with you, and here's all the stuff that I do, and how can, what else do you need that I can, help you with? And I'm like, take 2 minutes. Like, do you want me to talk to you? Take 2 minutes, go to my profile. I got a pretty funky profile. There's got to be at least one thing that stands out to you. If you say something about me first, I'm paying way more attention. If you lead with you, Yeah.
Yeah, it's a transactional versus relational, and people don't seem to understand that. And, that's the outdated way. And it's the same with us without children. It's like it offers that time to look at things a little differently. And I know women with children have that same challenge because, time limits and trying to do things that are outside of that stereotypical thing. And it's the same with sales, it's the same with connections. And so that's how I really like to celebrate in people is, we can choose differently and do it differently and build connections over these kind of, who would have thought child-free living,
Yeah, I never would have thought, like, I didn't even know child-free was a designation till December. And so, like, it did not even enter my realm of possibilities. And it's just kind of nice to have those conversations with like-minded people. And somebody was like, well, isn't that kind of segregating? And I'm like, yeah, but I go to MegaCon every year, which is like the Comic-Con festival here in Orlando. So I'm hanging out with all the nerds. We have us a lot of fun. And we're talking about things that nobody else wants to hear about. In the child-free world, it's probably not as much we're talking about things that nobody wants to hear about. It's more about other people are talking about things that we don't.
Yeah, we have different interests.
Yeah.
And, we went through that in the 80s, like you were talking about things that we can't accomplish if we have children. It makes it much more difficult. When I was working in an office, we had a women's committee and we did a presentation to the board. And there was one woman on the board, which was amazing, first of all. And she stood up for us and she said, if I'd had children, I wouldn't be here today. There is no way that I would have been able to be in this position. And we fought for the right to have women-only spaces, for example. So for people to understand there's history behind these things, that it wasn't just automatically given to us. So we had to fight for these spaces and to be accepted and not take on the shame and blame. Like I'm really big on us learning to understand our emotions. And it can come up. Like I even saw it with Mother's Day. People who, well, I'm a mom to my dog, my cat, which is great. And it's all in fun. But what's underneath that? Is there some part of me that I don't feel good about because I haven't followed that path of being a child, having a child and being a mom to that? So it's just looking at where do those thoughts come from? Is there some part of us that needs healing and understanding and kindness that maybe that was a path that someone wanted at some point and that didn't happen for them?
Yeah, and everybody's story and journey are so very different. I really appreciate you sharing kind of, some of that. I've lived most of my life in the entrepreneurial space. I was 24 when I started my first business, so I don't have as much of that. So it's great to hear how far we've been able to come. Now we're gonna switch gears a little bit because I want to get back to the bio, y'all. And so Robyn uses diverse and holistic techniques, and she told you she's got lots of different ways that she can assist to get to the heart of what's required to integrate who you are, to live your life authentically, be engaged, and handle what comes your way. And as I was looking and getting excited about our conversation today, and because I know you got some meditation that you're going to talk to us about, but then you also mentioned a few minutes ago that people have a lot of stuff going on sometimes. And meditation, is it worth it to do? And how do we find the time to make it worth it? I guess I'm assuming that the answer is it's worth it to do.
Yeah. And what's exciting is science is catching up with what we've known for many years. And the best meditation is one you're going to do. That's the bottom line. And sometimes it takes trying different things out. And for myself, like in high school, I was doing yogic and I had the candle. And then in college, I did, what is it called? TM, Transcendental Meditation. And that was cool because the Beatles did it. And And I didn't stick with either of those until I found the one I teach now, which is more geared to the Western mind. So we're actually doing things in the meditation. It's not trying to empty the mind. It's not trying to just repeat a mantra, which in the Western world, our brain finds that a challenge. So there's two things I do. There's a centering practice that we do in the Enneagram to bring our different centers in. And then there's the meditational techniques, which give you a way to ground and shield and bring in energy. So it's that loop of endorphins and the feel good part that we get from it. So when we actually take that time to tune in and use those techniques, and I understand, wow, I don't have to feel everyone else's energy anymore. I can understand what's mine, so I can make better choices. I'm not as stressed out. And that was why I found, it was the divine timing. Coming back to work, I was so vulnerable. I was so tender. I still wasn't feeling 100%. And I thought, how can I be around these stressed out people? And a woman at a wine, cheese, and tarot card reading party and said, I took a class and you get energy shields. And I was in the next week. And the first week I felt better. So when we have that feedback loop that we need for our brain, it's like, wow, this is really making a difference. I had a student, she wasn't able to get a better job because she wasn't focusing on the tests, did the class, aced the test, got the better job. So it really depends what you want out of it, but the manifestation, the feeling better, our physiology, our resilience, our connections, it just makes such a difference, because in our relationships, how often, especially as women, we're trained to leak our energy to other people for them to like us. So that confidence builds too in our business, because it's like, wow, I can have my energy. I don't have to be dragged in. And especially people new into the entrepreneurial world. And I went through this too, being naive. Oh, this is going to help me in that. But it's, when do you need that? And we can't believe everything that we see. And people are tired of this kind of selling. They want something that's authentic, that actually is, this is what I need, and you're not going to give me these grandiose ideas of what is the outcome. So with the meditation, we have a tool that helps you to discern things, and is this true, not true? And so a lot dream interpretation, so what's going on in the unconscious, to see those patterns where maybe I feel I need that because I'm not doing as well as I want. I want to live up to a certain standard that probably isn't attainable. And they're saying they were going to give it to me, but is it true? And what is that serving me? What am I getting out of it? And what are the places where I get caught in that? Because that's a way to be accepted, for example.
I love this so very much, and all that you're sharing. And what would you say to people that are like, meditation isn't for me? Like, I don't need meditation, or I can't quiet my mind, because I think a lot of people aren't even willing to try it. And I know that you've got a great gift for our folks that brings us back around to the power and inside of our relationships. But before we get there, I want to make sure that the people watching, like, I'm not going to meditate. What advice do you have to them?
Think about a time in your life where you thought, oh, it could even be a food. Oh, I can't try that. That looks really weird. And then you try and say, wow, this is really good. So the brain remembers, right? We have these patterns within us. And it's like, oh, well, what if I just tuned into my curiosity and just give it a go? And yeah, it's like trying a food, and that one didn't work for me, but maybe this one will. And let's just see, maybe I'm on the plane and, I'm too tired to watch a movie or read a book, but I can just sit there with my eyes closed and listen to a meditation. And, there's times waiting in the lineup. I used to always have a book in my purse. I don't do that as much anymore, but we wait for things. Here it's a long weekend in the ferry.
Ah,
for people. So, yeah, it's like, can you be curious enough to see? And the unfortunate part is for some people, we have to hit that bottom or that thing that someone walked out of the relationship, a friend stopped their relationship, something happened in their life to say, wow, I need to do something different. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way we are. And I used to talk about, can we get there and do that before the crash? But it's really hard with people to see that unless there's something that they really want to work on. So are you ready to just be curious and check it out? And maybe you don't like it, but we change all the time. And what I often see is students will go back out into the world and be different because of what they done in the class.
yeah.
And people will say to them, wow, something's different about you. Did you like cut your hair? Did you do this? Did you do that? No, I took this class and I learned to meditate and I learned to hold my energy. I learned to bring in universal energy so I'm not tired and drained at the end of the day. And I can have more fun because, I leave work and I leave work now and I go out and do some things I enjoy.
Love it. Yeah, and for those of y'all that are like, still not sure, I'm going to share mine, and then I'm going to have Robyn tell us about first the freebie that you can get from her today, as well as the class that she has coming up. So for me, meditation, I am all in on meditation. It took me a while to get here, though. The app I downloaded in 2017, so I know when I started, and there were times I'd go for like a week meditating and then not for like a month. And it was very back and forth, back and forth. It took me several years. Now, I just found out I don't check as much nowadays, but I do like a streak. I'm competitive. I'm like, can I streak? Not naked, but with how many days in a row that I can do it. And I'm at like 1,200 today that I'm meditating in a row. And it's funny, on my bad days, if I'm like having issues and I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, I just don't remember. He's like, have you meditated yet? And I'm like, oh crap, no, I have not. And so like when I'm having issues or the days I don't meditate, and I don't recommend that you tell your spouse to do that unless you have a really good relationship with your spouse, because if you're in a bad mood, them being like, have you meditated yet? Have you done your PQ reps yet? Like, have you done your stuff to get you out of this? So I do highly recommend utilizing it for so many different ways, and that can include to help heal your relationship. So you want to tell us about the gift that you have for us?
Yeah, it's a bit longer for meditation, about 15 minutes. And what I've done is put in stages there where you can stop. So I'm all about our capacity. We have to build that capacity, especially dealing with people who have had a lot of trauma in their life. So it's like we need to make sure that we feel safe. That's a really big thing for me, is I want people to feel safe. So you can go in and start the meditation, do a certain point, and then I say, you can stop here for today if you want to just kind of sit with that, because it's really about looking at our relationships and kind of where did that come in, where we have those reactions. And so it's something that you can reuse all of the time. It's not something that it's like, okay, I dealt with that one person, that's it. It's like, okay, well, I'm having some challenges with this person. Maybe I'll go in and do that meditation again.
Nice. So y'all, you can get this. We have it here on the screen, bit.ly/relationship meditation. Makes it super easy. Though do remember, bit.ly is picky when it comes to upper and lower cases. So the R is capital, and that is it in your relationship meditation. So you can check that out. Now, I do want to finish up Robyn's bio, because then I want to say something. Supporting you and building successful relationships in all area of your life is what Robyn is all about. This can help result in harmony, which I'm big on, and moving towards what matters most to you. So Robyn, if they want to learn more about you, they want to find you online, they want to get in contact with you, how can they do that?
I'm on LinkedIn, just under my name, and on Facebook, just my name makes it easy. And alifeofchoice.ca, since I'm in Canada, for the individuals and couples kind of focus. And then for teams, it's positiveteamengagement.com.
Nice. And tell us about your program workshop you've got coming up.
So out of the meditational group that I'm with, we teach some other courses. And one of those things that I teach is a workshop on anxiety and depression. So we go into like, where did that come in? What are these things attempting to help us with? Like, to really look at it in a different way. And at the end of the workshop, I'll record the meditation. And again, you'll get that as a download so you can continue to use it when those things come up, because anxiety is really general, right? And so there's this place of, we're trying to pinpoint something, but we don't know what. So this helps us to kind of calm a little and just look at, oh, there's something going on, and how can we look at that in a different way. And then the level 1 course is the basis of the meditation, and that's 4 sessions. And there's a spring special on right now, so there's $100 off, and that's $497 in the currency of your country. And each class is about 3 hours, and they build on each other, so you do have to attend all 4. But we start with the grounding and the shielding, learning to bring in that energy and different ways to keep ourselves healthy, and different tools. Like I was talking about the discernment tool, for example, and dream interpretation, and helping you to interpret them, but also to plan your dreams. This is something I've been doing, dream work, since college. I just love it, because that's where our unconscious patterns are, and helps bring them forward so that we can then choose. Because if we don't know what's going on, and some of the weirdest things that our younger self has done, so we do some inner child things. We learn to work with crystals. We learn what is your energy blueprint, because we're all different and unique. So we all bring in the energy, but in different ways. We have ways of seeing, knowing, feeling, smelling, everyone's kind of different. So you learn what is yours kind of signature, and then how do I interpret it? So I'm not using my system, I'm using you to help you, because you are individual. And then you learn a healing that you can use on yourself and others. So there's lots of great things, and it really does shift you. And there's a community and online ongoing meetings monthly to help you with a meditational focus, to help continue to lift those layers of the onion as we grow and change.
Awesome. And what was the website for people wanting to check it out?
Just go to my website, alifeofchoice.ca/events.
Makes it super simple. So Robyn, I'm going to ask you in just a moment what nugget you want to leave the viewing audience with, though. Y'all, I want to remind you, we do have coming up on August 1st is our International Child-Free Day event, where we are going to connect, we are going to collaborate, and we are going to celebrate. This is from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon. Right now in May, you can get this for only $1 using coupon code WELC, which is Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. WELC 98. That will save you $98 off the ticket. Make it $1. Now, if you happen to be watching this and it's past May, sorry, you can't get that. But use coupon code LUCKY, and that'll save you a few dollars there. We hope to see you. We're super excited to kick off our event. And always, you can come hang out with us in Facebook in our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free group. All right, Robyn, I am ready to kick it back over to you. Give us that last thing that you want to leave us with.
One of the most valuable trainings that I learned was conflict resolution, and certified in that, which comes back to relationships. So the mantra that I continue to use to this day, all these years later, is be curious. All behavior makes sense. So it's making sense to that other person. Can I be curious enough to ask questions and be open to hear things instead of being defensive and making assumptions? So it opens us up to that curiosity to really find out what's going on with that person. And it makes a huge difference when we can come from that place, when we're not just entrenched in, this is the only way to do things, and why aren't they seeing it my way? Because our natural tendency is to believe that everyone sees the world the same way, which is not true. And that's why I love the Enneagram and the motivational map, to help us to see, yeah, those are all different. Like with the map, we see there's over 1 million combinations. There's no label, because there isn't. And motivation changes over time. So we get to see that and bring that clarity in for ourselves.
Awesome. Robyn, I want to say thank you so much for joining us on a 3-day weekend from early in the morning. We were so glad to have you here to talk to us a little bit about building those stronger relationships, utilizing meditation to do that, as well as some of your experience as a woman and the other women in your life that have been living child-free. Thank you so very much for being here. Y'all, we'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will be here to talk to another amazing and phenomenal woman. Thank you so much.